Is he? Have a lot left.
Yeah. He said he was just going to take a disc or two because it looks so bad after all that rain. And then the cow's doing bad too.
What's the matter with the cow? Just cheap?
We're taking them to market.
Yeah, yeah.
They're doing awful there too, so it's a bad year for us this year.
He's not happy, huh?
Yeah, we're having a bad year.
I understand.
That next year can't be worse on the bright side.
Well, and that's the way farmers survive. There's hope for next year.
Daddy always told me it's the only profession you can do everything right and everything still go wrong.
Mm-hmm. He's right. He's exactly right.
He's finally getting his holes drilled for his barn on Friday.
Really?
Yeah. Him and Jesse got the footers set up for the footers and got the water lines put in, and the guy's supposed to drill the holes Friday.
Something special about the holes? How deep?
I don't know, I haven't been there, so I don't know.
Okay, I just wondered.
I've been gone every week, like had to do something every weekend, so I don't know.
Social life's ahead of it.
That and I really wanted to go to the Fair Festival on Saturday, so me and Mama went.
Did y'all freeze to death?
A little bit.
It's cold.
A little bit. The wind wasn't blowing, it was fine. We hid behind a bush and ate lunch. It was so cold. So the wind wouldn't get us.
What'd you have for lunch? Always big in lunch.
We ate the black pot chicken from the Ruitons.
Okay.
Because Mama knows all them, because Jesse was in Boy Scouts.
That's fine.
And I ate a barbecue sandwich too. It was really good.
Are you going to the tech sale tomorrow night? They have horses this year too.
No. I'm not a big animal person. Just not. I chased enough pigs and cows and chickens when I was little. And all the fences have gone to Hades. I just can't afford to build a fence back. I'm not going to chase critters. We got a big old goofy dog, and that's the extent of the animal population we got. Danny's giving me the evil eye over here talking about big grandkids. Huh?
No, you're good.
Did you ever get your trailer going?
No, it's supposed to be done Thursday, today or tomorrow. Supposed to be back all together today. Said somebody broke his foot a couple months ago and he didn't know it. So it's been hurting. So they finally went to the doctor and they x-rayed the rope. So they gave him a boot to wear and it was too big to fit inside the work boot. So he's taking off going to work every day and went back to the hospital to get x-rayed. He told the doctor, so ain't no point doing an x-ray. So if you're walking, like I said, it don't look no difference. They gave him a different one.
I don't think they.
He's been trying to work on it.
You know, it burned
It's
up.
out of a work
Yeah.
boot. The boot they gave me when I broke my ankle wouldn't fit inside of nothing.
He showed me the first one. There was no way it's going to fit inside. Exactly. You walk with this, and it's like you must get some sort of slimmer one or something. I don't know.
Well, the doctor gave me one when I got my.
Is everybody in?
I think we got.
so.
Yep.
Yeah, Nina, are you there? Apparently y'all having a microphone thing there. Nina, if you could send me a text letting me know that you can hear, that would be fantastic. I think we're having.
We're still having issues with their system with the mic. It's overheating. Still don't have it fixed. So you'll just have to bear with me. Let me know if you can. I'm glad we're resuming class because I don't like online stuff. And so anyway, we're back. The job I took did not work out. And it was an interesting situation. I've got a lot of stories to tell for those of you that take the HR class next. After the first day, I knew I was ready to walk out. What they offered me in the interview.
You're in and out, Dwayne, with your volume.
All right. What they offered me for pay in the interview and on the job offer was not what they wanted to agree to when I got there. So they lied to me, and I figured it was just going to get worse from there. But anyway, we're back. Hopefully, I'd given you the assignment before I left for you guys to read the last 2 chapters and look at those PowerPoints. Did y'all do that with the poultry industry and the aquaculture? I know a couple people did. I was just asking about the rest of the class. Since I gave that as an assignment, I'm not going to go over it. Okay. You can read those you had last week to do that, and look at those PowerPoints. And I put a study guide up on Blackboard for you guys to do. And basically, they're just questions from the end of the chapters in the book. It's not all the questions, just some of them. So anyway, those last 2 chapters, it finishes up that section about the livestock industry, and it covered alternative mammalian livestock industries like deer and bison. It also talked about the aquaculture and the poultry industry. And we didn't talk a lot about the we didn't discuss the poultry industry. But it is time for your second exam. So we will plan on having an exam next week over this second section. So I highly recommend you guys to read the poultry chapter and the aquaculture chapter and go over the study guide. I did put on there as well the blank cow with the arrows pointing to the different parts, because you will need to know the parts of an animal. We're just using the cow for a model because the terminology is pretty much the same for the other species of animals. There's a few different species differences in terminology, but if you know the cow, the others won't be an issue for you. You will also need to know the wholesale cuts of the beef and the pork. So that information, if you recall from your first lab, it's there on Blackboard. So you need to know where the chuck is on the beef. Can anybody tell me that? It's the shoulder area. What about the round for a beef? Where's that come from? Yeah, you're the slaughter guy. Hold off. Let other people answer these.
Hindquarters.
Yep, the hindquarters. What about the picnic? Where's that come from?
Top of the shoulder.
In what species, Keith?
Pig.
Okay, and the Boston butt?
Same place.
Yeah,
Well, higher.
It's from the shoulder of the pig too. And the belly?
Bacon.
Bacon. All right, so y'all need to know these things, okay?
What's the format going to be on the test? True, false, fill in the blank, matching, or how is that?
There won't be any true, false. I don't like true, false questions, Keith. I
don't either.
I know.
Well taken.
I'm not knocking people that do. I just think they can be tricky.
Yeah.
And I just don't care for them. I'm more of a fill in the blank discussion type guy, as y'all could tell from the first exam, because that tells me what you know when you have to tell me what you know, then I know what you know. Discussion makes things a little bit harder to grade, but that's really my favorite format.
50 questions.
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't really have it made yet, to be honest with you. I'm sure there'll be some type of discussion, some fill in the blanks, or short answer instead of discussion. Fill in the blanks. There may be some matching. You know, there's some terminology you guys need to know as well, like, and I think those are included in those questions at the end of the chapters. Like, you hear the term bovine, what species does that refer to? Anybody know?
Cows.
Yeah, cattle. Ovine, porcine, avian. You'll need to understand the structure of the beef industry, and we went over that in detail with the different the purebred breeders and the commercial cow-calf producers and stockers and the feedlots. You need to know how the pork industry is today. With it's highly, the pork and the poultry industry both, they're vertically integrated. Companies will pay the producers to raise the animals and provide the feed. And the company like Tyson, Murphy Brown, owns that animal throughout the growing process. And they just contract out to farmers for those different stages of growth. Aquaculture, there'll probably be some questions regarding aquaculture and some terminology in aquaculture, like what a fry, and that's not French fries. With alternative mammalian livestock like deer or buffalo, elk. So I recommend you to do those questions in the back, on the study guide. Know those terms, know the parts of the cow, know how the structures are set up. For the beef and pork and poultry industries. Know that aquaculture is growing and rapidly expanding. We went to a trout farm a few weeks back for one of our labs. The guy, did he buy the eggs or did he buy the fry? Yeah. And he gets them to a certain size and he brings them to a series.
Dwayne, we hear you fine until you look away from the mic.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So he buys the eggs and raises them to a certain, they hatch out. He raises them to a certain size, and then he takes them to trout races and grows them to different sizes, and then trout stream, or these people that have trout streams that pay for fishing deal or private clubs, they buy fish from him. And so
What species did he grow?
he had rainbows and had some. Yeah, he had a little bit of everything. Mainly rainbows. He said he didn't like the browns that much because when they hit and they miss it, they don't, it's a few days before they hit again. So they're not real popular for these trout places. And he had some golden trout and a few brooks. So that was an interesting lab. Any questions you guys may have? And we'll try to do this exam next Thursday.
With the cattle picture, the one that you sent us on Blackboard, it's a little different from the one in the book. The one in the book's more in depth. Do we need to know both those, or just?
To be honest with you, how I did that, I struggled with that. I took the one in the book, scanned it, and I sent it to a former student. She was a student at the time, but she could manipulate that stuff, and somehow or another she erased the parts and left the lines, and then sent it back to me. I'm thinking that's pretty much the one out of the book. The one I put on Blackboard or very close to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Blackboard.
We got it. We printed it.
But any other
Guaranteed.
questions?
Yeah, it'll be.
Guaranteed, Tom.
There may not be as many blanks on the one in Blackboard, the one I have available to you on Blackboard, as there are in the book, because we couldn't fit them all. But it's pretty much the same. These pictures. Any other questions?
And I had a quick question. You said the exam was gonna be on Thursday, right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
A week from today,
Okay.
7 days.
A whole lot of material.
And if you have any questions, feel free to call me. I'll be happy to help you out.
Both.
All
Do
right.
about that way you cover.
If there's no other questions, we'll proceed to the next section. Chapter. And this will not, what we cover today.
We'll try to turn it.
Okay. The exam will just cover section 2. Before I move on, do y'all have any questions? Okay. The next section that we're going to cover is biology. Don't y'all jump for joy,
What chapter are you in?
Chapter 11. So we're going to start talking about the biology of the domestic animal. So you're going to have to dig deep in your brain and remember your high school biology class. And for those of you that has had currently in college biology, hopefully it'll help you in that class. That class will help you with this section. Okay? So we're going to start talking about, we're going to cover just basic anatomy and physiology. We're going to cover the reproductive system. We're going to talk about genetics. We're going to talk about digestive system, so we're going to talk about all this stuff. So the thing we need, a couple things you need to keep in mind. Remember, is this chapter 11. It's very crucial for you guys to read this chapter and know it, because the stuff we're going to talk about in this section is going to build off of this chapter. Okay. So let me ask you guys some questions. Try to get you guys engaged. What is the most important part of your body or an animal's body?
Your cells.
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Cells. Your cells.
Cells. Okay, you're getting very basic. What other answer? That's a good answer.
Your organs.
Okay, we have the brain. We have organs. What type of organs are you guys referring to?
Your heart. Your liver. Your lungs.
All right, we can't live without a heart, can we?
Some of us
Can't
do.
live without a liver either, can we? Lungs. Can we live without lungs?
You live without one of them.
Yeah, you can live without one, but not both.
Kidneys.
Do you think the answer depends on what your problem is that day? I mean, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, but right now, in your state, or some of you guys, your stage of life, you're healthy, you're young, you don't have aches and pains every morning when you crawl out of bed, and hopefully you don't have any health problems. As you get older, or injury or sickness sets in, or you get sick, whatever the problem is, that's your most important organ, right? Whatever it's affecting. John right now, not to pick on John, but man, he's had a major trauma with his eyesight. So I can guarantee you that's pretty major on his scale. You imagine, I know that we can function, people, I know blind people, they continue to function. I know one guy that's blind, and he's a chiropractor. He's been blind since birth. Pretty amazing. But, to have the gift of sight and then lose it is something else. So hopefully, we all wish John a full recovery on that, not having long-term effects. Take me, right now, to me, it's my muscle, my skeletal system. I've kind of abused my body throughout the years. I've got arthritis. I've had several broken bones. So I feel aches and pains every morning. But if I've got bronchitis or pneumonia and I can't breathe very well, I'm pretty concerned about my lungs. If I've got the stomach, something wrong with my, some type of intestinal issue, intestinal thickness, and I'm kind of worried about my intestines, my stomach, or whatever's bothering me, right? Kind of changes whatever we're going through. The thing, guys, it all works together for us to function properly. Our lungs, our brain, our liver, our heart, our hormones. It's one big system, and a lot of them interact with each other. Most of them do interact with one another. Can nutrition affect reproduction? You bet it can. Can nutrition affect respiratory issues? Yeah, it can. They're not fed right, or we're not meeting their nutritional requirements, and they can be stressed and be more susceptible for respiratory infections, especially cattle. What we do know is when it comes to cattle, their respiratory system, that's their Achilles heel. That's where you're going to find most of the problem with cattle, is the respiratory system. What is it with horses? Yeah, you're right.
Intestines.
Intestines. Horses, one of the issues we fight with horses is colic. We're always trying to prevent them from colic. Different species have different issues. I don't know. They may not be. And they may not have that problem. Cattle's lungs aren't very big. And you gotta, I don't know. I mean, they'll get pneumonia off the hat. I don't know about buffalo. Most of the problems I've heard about reproduction, that's vaccinate for, pretty much vaccinate cattle. But I don't know. So, if we, all these, the digestive system and respiratory, circulatory system, nervous system, the skeletal system, the endocrine system, which is contains most of our hormones, and the glands that produce our hormones, at least the endocrine glands. They're all connected. They all work together. If our hormone system, if our endocrine system doesn't work right, it affects our bone strength, it affects our digestion, it affects our reproduction, it affects our ability to maintain a constant internal temperature. It all plays together. It's all very important. And when we start breaking down things, looking at individual things, we go back to the original answer when I asked this question, and the lady in the back of there, Patrick Henry, said cells. Those are a very basic deal, because when you have a group of cells of similar structure, it creates something like muscle or the cardiac muscle in the heart, or smooth muscles for your guts, or cells for a gland. They all have specific purposes. So it all comes down to, we can look at the cells. When we have infections, bacterial infection, a lot of the bad bacteria. The reason we can use, we can use antibiotics to kill bad bacteria is because they're made a little bit different. So antibiotics target the way those cells or certain structures in certain cells. So that's how that works. Typically, if you think about microbiology, and most of y'all haven't, most cells, if you stain them, they're going to be gram positive. They'll either be a gram positive or gram negative. That means if you stain them, they're going to turn blue or they turn red. And the majority of the bacteria that makes us sick are gram negative bacteria. And there's a certain structure in those bacteria that antibiotics target. So it's interesting. To me, it is. Other people may find it boring, but hopefully you find this stuff interesting because you'll have to know it. If you don't already know it, you'll have to learn it when you get your test results. Excited about it. So the organs of our body are all made from cells, right? What if we think about the cell? You have to look at them under microscope to see them. They're microscopic. So they do contain organs, what they refer to as organelles. They do have specific parts in those cells for those cells to live and function and perform their duties. Now, if y'all recall back to your biology class, high school or college, you had to learn these things. So, what are some of the organelles of the cells and what do they
do? Nucleus.
Okay, the nucleus. What's the nucleus?
It's like the brain.
Sometimes they're in the middle, sometimes they're not. But typically we tend to think it's in the middle, but that's not always the case. But why is the nucleus important? What does it contain? What does it do?
It contains the DNA of the cell and the organism.
Okay, it contains the DNA. Pretty much tells what it's going to do, right? It's where when we get into genetics, it has a lot to do with protein. There's a process called transcription that takes place, and that happens there. So it's very critical with the production of protein. Now, how important are proteins in the body? They're major, right? All of our muscle contains protein. Most of our hormones contain protein. So protein production is vital. Chromosomes contain DNA, and it's very involved in protein production. Some of the nerves. Now, what else? What's some other? What else? Okay, cell wall. Plants tend to have cell wall. Animals have cell membrane. Okay, kind of holds the cell membrane holds everything. It does. That's right. Cell membrane is hard to study it in depth, and it's mind-boggling. It contains phospholipids, phosphorus, fat type called phospholipids, and it regulates what can go in the cell, come out of the cell, out, place cell, cell membrane, cell. So that's critical. Can't get rid of the waste, die, right? Get rid of waste, die. Take some nutrients, they'll die. So it's very critical. What else do we have? So it has important it also keeps the ionic environment between the cells outside. What else do we do? What about you guys at the south side? Keith, what? Nina there at the south side. Come on, guys. Wake up. I don't want to lose you. Celia, I think certain structure, they're like structure, but it's not really.
Can't hear him, can you? That's all I got, and it's, yeah.
What else do we? Come on, guys.
Your sound is breaking up and pretty poor, Dwayne. They can't determine what you're saying.
All right, I'm just trying to get them to speak and tell me what are some other organelles.
Well, they can't even hear your question. That's the problem.
We're losing our sound even worse.
I've got it jacked up in here, and as long as you're directing it right at the mic, it works fine. But when you turn your head away, can't hear it at all.
Okay. All right, guys, come on. Give me another cell structure.
The endoplasmic reticulum.
Okay. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's called ER, and there's rough and smooth, and it makes the ribosomes.
Okay. So the ribosomes and the endoplasmic reticulum. That's where, with the ribosomes and the ER, the endoplasmic reticulum, that is where protein synthesis occurs. Very crucial. Those two organelles.
I think this is an organelle. It's a mitochondria.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a good one.
I'm not
The
exactly sure
nickname
what.
of the mitochondria is the powerhouse, the workhorse of the cell. It's that's where we generate, the mitochondria generate energy, ATP. Y'all ever heard of that? Adeno triphosphate. It's our basic form of energy for us to live. When what we take in gets broken down to ATP and ADP, adeno diphosphate, and the mitochondria produce. The interesting thing about mitochondria is that the mitochondria has its own DNA. There's mitochondrial DNA. Kind of interesting. But it's another crucial organelle. Can you think of anything else? Getting to the hard ones. We're getting to the hard ones now.
Cytoplasm.
Okay, the cytoplasm. And the cytoplasm's just the soluble elements within the cell. It's, you have the organelles in the cell, then you have the filler part within the cell. That's pretty much what the cytoplasm is. Okay? It's everything cushion. It's a liquid. So that's the cytoplasm. What? Do you know the name of the organelle where the degradation takes place and waste is produced?
Lysosomes.
Yeah, the lysosomes. And then the other one is the Golgi apparatus. And that's where proteins, after the proteins are formed, they're packaged up in the Golgi apparatus to be transported out of the cell. So those are the ones I'm going to ask you about. I need to know the nucleus, the cell membrane, the mitochondria, the ribosomes and endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi apparatus, the lysosomes, and the cytoplasm. And you need to know what they do. See that again on the exam. Probably. Now, let me ask you guys another question. We kind of talked about this earlier. What are our major organ systems? Okay, we have a nervous system in the brain. Okay, we have the cardiovascular system, the heart, the blood vessels, and the veins and arteries and capillaries.
Skeletal system.
What was that? I didn't hear you.
Skeletal system.
Okay, we have the skeletal system. What's it do? What's the main function of the skeletal system?
Support.
Yeah. It's the framework for the body, isn't it? What's the main purpose of the cardiovascular system? Get oxygen throughout the body, right? carbon dioxide. What other systems do we have?
Your endocrine system.
Endocrine system. Produce hormones. Regulates body temperature. Regulates digestion. It regulates reproduction. Regulates growth. Any others you can think of?
Your muscular system.
Muscular system. How we move, right? That's the bone. Allows movement.
Your nervous
Two
system.
types of muscle, right? We have smooth muscle, involuntary muscle, striated muscle, or voluntary. Smooth muscle or involuntary muscles would consist of the stomach and the digestive system. They just don't think about it. It just happens. It's a different type of muscle. Whereas your ambulatory and muscles for you to move and pick up things, strength are going to be your striated muscle, voluntary muscle. Okay, any others you can think of?
Your respiratory and your gastrointestinal.
Okay, respiratory. How important is oxygen to us, guys? Is that pretty important to y'all? Yeah, get you through the day. Have any of y'all ever been oxygen deprived? Like held underwater a little bit longer than you wanted to? It can get scary, can it? If you can't breathe.
Carbon monoxide can create that issue.
Yep, it sure will. So, oxygen's really important. What are some of the respiratory organs?
Your lungs.
Yeah, your lungs. And then you also said the gastrointestinal tract. Hey, it's important. That's where we get our nutrients. We take food into our body. Our digestive system breaks it down. It gets digested, gets moved throughout the body to the individual cells, and we can continue to function. The other system that y'all haven't mentioned, and you don't really think about it as being a system, but it's adipose system, fat. Why is fat important?
Keeps you warm.
What's that?
It keeps you warm, like babies and children, like the adipose, like the brown fat.
And
This would keep kids from getting cold when they're little.
Okay. You brought up an interesting thing. There's brown fat and there's white fat. Usually in newborns, whether it's people or animals, we see the brown fat. It's easily broken down to energy, until they really learn how to nurse start taking some food in. And it also acts as some insulation. But it's kind of what keeps that newborn alive until they start to get some nourishment through milk in them. Now, the white fat, as you get older, as the newborn grows, the brown fat dissipates, it's used up, and it's not really, it's not retained. What we have then, the other fat we have is the white fat, and again, it does act as insulation. What else does it? What's the main purpose? Or another purpose? Storage for energy, right? We have it as stored up energy. We run low on energy. Their fat can be broken down. It also provides cushion too, right? So it serves several purposes. Now, let's go into a little bit more detail about these different systems. Now, but before we get started on that, I think, when I first asked that question, one of the answers was the brain and the central nervous system. I think you said that. And that's the head honcho. That's the control center. Keeps everything going. So, they all work together to create life. So, let's go down. Let's break these down a little bit more. Let's start off with the gastrointestinal tract. What's the main function of the digestive system, the gastrointestinal tract? What's the main function?
To digest your food so that you can absorb the nutrients that's in it.
Okay. It's the chemical breakdown and the mechanical breakdown in the process of food that contains, think about food like meat or vegetables, fruits. They're made of very complex molecules, and the digestion process breaks them down. Keeps breaking them down to very simple molecules that are easily absorbed in the body. That's the main function. It also absorbs water. We know you have to have water. The body contains quite a bit of water. Very important. Does the gastrointestinal tract provide protection against pathogens, bad bugs, disease-causing organisms? Yeah, it does. Gastrointestinal tract is a pretty harsh environment, and it does provide some immunological protection against pathogenic organisms. Is there any fermentation that takes place in the gastrointestinal tract? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. And we talked about that earlier. You have the forefront foregut fermentators such as cattle, sheep, the ruminants. And then you have the hindgut fermentators like rabbits and horses. So if it's a simple stomach, the fermentation takes place in the large intestine. If it's a ruminant, it takes place prior to going to the abdomen. And then the other thing that the digestive system does is moves the ingesta, like what you take in. It's chewed up and it starts moving through the gut. It keeps all that stuff flowing through the gut and it's expelled out. So, what are the organs of the GI tract? Let's start at where food is.
Mouth.
Yeah, the mouth. And other than birds, what does the mouth contain?
Teeth.
Teeth, right? Chews it up. Once you swallow, where does the food go then? What's the next step?
Your esophagus.
Yeah. And all that is a tube from the mouth to the stomach. Yeah, and a chicken, poultry, it goes to the crop and it gets ground to the crop. So that's why they need to have some stuff in there for that grinding mechanism of the crop and get a lot of that grinding takes place. But outside of birds, it goes to the stomach. And that's where food gets mixed together. There's a lot of chemical digestion that takes place there, some hormonal digestion that takes place there, or the breakdown of the food, the chemicals and the hormones will break that down. And after it leaves the stomach, where does it go?
Small intestine.
Yeah, it goes to the small intestine. We see some absorption taking place in the small intestine. Quite a bit of absorption. Still some more digestion taking place there. But mainly it starts to be absorbed. And the small intestine has three distinct regions in it. The duodenum, or duodenum, however you want to say it, the jejunum, and the ileum. Then you have, once it leaves the small intestine, where does it go to?
Colon.
Yeah, colon. And that is mainly the large intestine. And the large intestine has a colon and a cecum. And then it leads to the rectum for expulsion. And then the hindgut fermentators, that's mainly where that fermentation takes place. Mainly. And you also have a lot of the absorption of water in the large intestine. Any questions regarding that? The major organs of the digestive tract. We'll try to keep things simple, okay, and basic. So, what about the cardiovascular system? What does it contain?
Your heart.
It contains the heart,
Blood vessels
blood vessels,
in your
and
blood.
what else? And
Blood.
blood. And blood consists of plasma and red and white blood cells and platelets. And the plasma is the aqueous content of the blood, and it contains the ions and the proteins. And the heart is 4 chambers, right? You have the right atrium and ventricle. Then it goes to the lungs for expulsion of the gases and taking in of the oxygen. And then it goes back to the left atrium, and then go to the left ventricle, and then gets distributed throughout the body through the blood vessels. You have the arteries, which lead away from the heart, and you have the veins, which lead to the heart. And then the capillaries. They're very small. So the capillaries get down to the cell structure for those nutrients. Any questions regarding the cardiovascular system? It's interesting with the heart, the cardiac muscle. That's a completely different type of muscle than the smooth muscle or the or striated muscle. It's a different type of muscle altogether. Basically, the heart is an electrical pump, and it just, as long as the charge, keep those charges, and it just keeps going. It's very complicated with the potassium and sodium and the electrical charges that keeps that electrical pump going. That's why, like, you get into a big voltage of electricity, it can stop your heart, or we can use electricity to get it back into rhythm if it gets out of rhythm. Because it's basically electrical. I think of it as an electrical pump. The respiratory system mainly contains the lungs, right? And the diaphragm, or air, air is moved in and out of the lungs in mammals through the contraction of the diaphragm and the intercostal muscle between the ribs. What causes the lungs it pushes the air out of the lungs and causes the lungs to expand and take in air. In birds, air is moved by the abdominal muscles and other muscles through the lungs into air sacs. Birds are they're a different creature. But basically the lungs is the primary organ. What about the muscles? What type of muscles do we have?
Skeletal, smooth, and cardiac.
Okay, smooth muscles, striated muscles, and cardiac. What kind of muscle do we use for meat?
Skeletal.
Skeletal muscle. Do people eat smooth muscle?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. You ever eaten chitlins, tripe, menudo? Those all use stomach and intestines. that's smooth muscle. So there are, you know, you can eat the smooth muscle as well, or some smooth, some people, you know, smooth muscles are used for food as well. Um, Viney wings, they're in that. Okay. Well, I like viney wings. Right. I haven't looked at the trees. That doesn't even go on. I don't know what. I don't want to know. But I do like my viney wings. And then the cardiac muscle, we just discussed that a little bit. But those are the three types of muscles. And what are muscles primarily composed of?
Protein.
Protein. Okay, what about our skeletal system? What's its function?
Support.
Support. It's the framework of the body. What else does it do? Yeah, it protects your vital organs. Think of your rib. They encase the heart and lungs, don't they? Provides protection. What else does it do? When you were growing up and your mother said, drink your milk so you have strong bones and teeth. Right? You remember that? Bones are a storage place for calcium and phosphorus. And they also, the muscles attach to the bone, and that allows movement. Now, what does the skeletal system what's the two principal components in the skeletal system?
The spine be one?
What was that? I didn't hear you.
I said the spine. Would that be one?
The sign.
Spine.
The what, John?
Spine. Backbone.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a bone. I was thinking in terms of the two type of tissues of the skeleton.
Okay.
So we have bones, and what else do we have?
Cartilage.
Cartilage. There are two types of tissue in the skeletal, in our skeletal system. Now, what about adipose tissue? We talked there were two types, white fat and brown fat. We discussed those a little bit. Is body fat essential for survival?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it is. You do have to have it. And where can we find body fat in an animal?
Your abdomen.
The marbling
I'm sorry,
in
I
the meat.
didn't hear you.
Your abdomen.
Okay, the abdomen. You look at me, I've got plenty around mine. Where else can we find adipose tissue?
Under your skin.
Under your skin. Subcutaneous. Come on, Keysville. South Boston and South Side. Where's the other two places we can find adipose tissue? We're about out of time, so let's answer the question. Think of a steak.
Intramuscular. And the marbling of the meat.
Marbling. Okay. And one other place.
Around the organs. Protection.
Yeah, that's going to be your abdominal area. Think of your steak. Think of a big, like a porterhouse, different muscles. We have fat within the muscle, the marbling, and then we have fat between the different muscles. You have intermuscular and intramuscular. You have fat within the muscle, and you have fat around between muscle groups. All right, looks like we're out of time. Y'all have any more questions? Any questions for me before you leave? Comments? Qualms? Don't run over everybody. Get out the door. Alright. Did anybody watch the World Series last night? Chicago won. Hopefully they don't win anymore.
What? What'd you say?
I said I hope Chicago does not win anymore.
I'm just gonna turn you off.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. As you can tell, I'm Indian.
World Series or something?
It's been a long time.
They're overdue.
Yeah, it's been a long time for them now. Come on.
Most people don't even know it's baseball season. Football.
When they're like 45 when they won.
It's long.
Combined, it's over 100.
They had a news article about this guy who went to the one in 45 when they won, and he's going again this year. So they're giving him a ticket so he could go.
Did she bring that dude up there?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
She may have left it in the
Okay.
door. I'll look and put it in the door for you. In case you don't catch me.
One of
Are
my
we just not having that one class?
Which one?
Wednesday?
Yeah, she's in the process of getting some plans.
Okay.
Wait until she gets to see, the time a little bit.
You want to call Mama? Yeah, to ask her. Are you going to take the test right now? You can take it while I'm in class. Do you know how to do the balance sheet and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I can't figure out the last part because I can't remember the accounting, but you take the numbers and you subtract them and you put that under. I just need to see what you're talking about. But I have to come I just
saw the Browns play a couple of times. That was fun.
it's because I'm drinking Gatorade.
A good friend of my cousin.
I want to drink on mine. I haven't peed one. I mean, like if you don't I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. And it's just out.
Weeks, so we watched it. That was an interesting. That was an interesting day. I was a little kid. Didn't really care, you know. The only thing I remember about basketball was real small. And as I was leaving, my cousin said, "Wait, you're too young to appreciate this. But one day you will. I'll tell you now, appreciate it because you just saw Dr. J play. They're playing Philadelphia 76. He's the best basketball player there is. You got to saw him play." That's about all I remember. You know, so I like that.